You know, in the Chinese language, there are these tiny little characters that, once you really get them, can just unlock huge gains in your spoken fluency. I'm talking about the small but mighty words we call particles. They might not look like much at first, but trust me, they're the secret code to sounding natural. So let's dive in and crack that code together.
So what exactly are particles? Well, the easiest way to think about them is as function words. There are three key things to keep in mind. First, they're always just single characters. Second, they usually have that neutral or fifth tone, which makes them sound really light and subtle. And third, and this is the most important part, they don't really have a fixed meaning by themselves. Nope, they get all their power from the words around them, helping to change the tense, the structure, or even just the whole feeling of a sentence.
So here's our game plan. We're going to systematically crack this code. First up, we'll look at the particles that deal with time and tense. Then we'll get into the ones that help you build your sentences correctly. After that, we'll explore the really fun ones that add emotion and tone to your speech. And finally, we'll see how putting it all together is your real key to fluency.
Okay, let's begin with our first category. Now, what's really interesting here is that these particles actually make things simpler. You know how in English we have to deal with changing our verbs, like go, went, gone? Well, Chinese doesn't do that. Instead, it uses these clever little particles to show when an action happens. It's a different way of thinking for sure, but once you get the hang of it, it can be a lot more straightforward.
Let's start with what is probably the most common particle of them all. This character is le. Let's just take a moment with the sound le. It's pronounced with that neutral fifth tone, so it's very light, almost like it's just tacked on to the end of another word.
Now this is absolutely crucial to understand. Le has two main jobs. Its first job is to show that an action is finished, that it's completed. Its second job is to show that a situation is changed. A really common trap for learners is to think le just means past tense. It doesn't. It's really all about completion, and you can even use it for things in the present or future.
This example shows that first function perfectly. The sentence is 我吃了午饭. See how le comes right after the verb 吃, which means to eat? That little particle tells us that the action of eating lunch is complete. I ate lunch. It's over and done with.
Okay, let's move on to our next particle. This character is zai. Take a look at it and listen to the sound, zai. This one has a fourth tone, so it's a sharp falling sound.
Zai is another one that goes double duty. Its first job is to show location, like at the park or in the house. But its second job, the one we're focusing on here, is to show that an action is happening right now. It shows that something is continuous.
So let's look at that second function in action. The sentence is 他在做作业. Notice the placement here. Zai comes before the verb 做, which means to do. This is basically how Chinese creates the ing form of a verb. It tells us the action is in progress. He is doing homework.
Our next particle is 过. Listen again. 过. This one is often called the experience marker. And that's exactly what it does. You use it to talk about things you have done before, as a life experience.
For instance, 我去过中国. The verb here is 去, which means to go. By adding 过 right after it, you're saying more than just that you went to China. You're specifically saying that you have had the experience of being in China at some point in your past. It's a really nice way to talk about the things you've done.
And the last particle in this section is jie. Let's say it, jie. Now this one's a little more subtle. Jie is used to show a continuous state that's ongoing. It's not about an action that's in progress, but more about the state that results from a completed action.
This example makes the difference really clear. 他穿着红色的外套. Now, if we used zai here, it would mean he's in the process of putting on the coat. But because we're using zhe, it means he's in the continuous state of wearing it. The action of putting it on is finished, and this is what's happening now.
Fantastic. Let's move on to our second category, which is all about building sentences the right way. Now we're going to look at three different particles that are all pronounced de, but they're written differently and have completely different jobs. I'm telling you, mastering these three is a massive leap forward on your Chinese journey.
Okay, let's break this down nice and slow, because with these, location is everything. First, we have the. This is the one you'll see the most. It can show possession, like his book, or it connects an adjective to a noun, like red book. Next up is the. This one goes before a verb. Its whole job is to turn an adjective into an adverb. It's what turns happy into happily. And finally, we have the. This one comes after a verb, and it describes how that action was done. For example, to say someone runs fast. Just keep telling yourself, where it is in the sentence is the key.
All right, great work. For our final category, we're going to move away from grammar and structure and get into feeling. We're going to look at what are called modal particles. These guys don't really change the literal meaning of what you're saying. Instead, they add all that emotional color, excitement, doubt, a gentle suggestion that makes you sound like a real person, not a textbook.
We're going to focus on 4 of the most essential ones. We've got ma, which is your basic question mark. Then there's ne, which is perfect for asking, what about you? We have ba for making suggestions, and a, which is just a little powerhouse of enthusiasm.
Let's start with the easiest one of all, ma. It's so simple. You just take any statement, any sentence at all, and you pop ma on the very end. Instantly, it becomes a yes or no question. So a statement like 你喜欢中国菜, you like Chinese food, becomes 你喜欢中国菜吗? Do you like Chinese food? It's that easy.
Next up is meh. This little particle is your best friend in a conversation. If someone asks you a question, you can give your answer and then use meh to bounce that exact same question right back to them. You'll hear it all the time in the phrase Nina, which just means, and you, or what about you? So useful.
Now, the particle ba is incredibly versatile. Its main purpose is really just to soften the tone of whatever you're saying. You can use it to make a friendly suggestion, like, let's go. It can soften a command so it sounds less bossy. You can use it to show that you're a little unsure about something, and it's also used to show agreement, like in the super common phrase 好吧, which just means okay then. And finally, we have Honestly, you can just think of this one as pure emotion packed into a single sound. Sticking on the end of a sentence is like adding an exclamation mark to show you're excited. But it can also add a feeling of sincerity and care, or even just punctuate items when you're listing things off. It's just a tiny sound that adds so much warmth.
So there you have it. You now have the code book for some of the most powerful and useful words in the entire Chinese language. And as we've seen, these are way more than just little grammar points. They are the absolute keys to sounding natural and really understanding the flow of an actual conversation. So let's just quickly recap the framework we've built today. We looked at particles for time and tense, which tell us when something happens. We covered particles for structure, the 3 Ds, which are all about linking words together correctly. And we covered particles for mood and tone, which tell us how the speaker is feeling.
But here's the most important step. Now you have to take this knowledge and apply it out there, in the real world. The next time you're listening to Chinese, whether it's music, a movie, or a conversation, I want you to make it a little game for yourself. Now that you know the code, which one of these particles are you going to listen for first?